up, my beautiful people? We are back with the ultimate Z32 giveaway build, and we are nearing the end at the home stretch. Let's get it finished. So you might notice she's looking a wee bit different than she did before, so let's do a quick walk around and get into what's been changed. First up, as you can see, it has had a massive facelift, utilizing a JDM front bumper and a very special twins front lip, along with a full lip kit. So that also includes a front, side, and rear lips. You can only find that at z1motorsports.com, so go check that out. Big shout out to twins. Moving along to the side. For our wheel and tire setup, we went with a beautiful T37 monoblock forged wheel, very lightweight, gets the job done every single time. We've wrapped them in Falcon Azenas tires for maximum grip. We are also running a Z1 front and rear big brake kit. All the stopping power this car will ever need. You know, you're gonna make some power, gotta be able to stop. This is our Z1 track kit, very suited for the road or track purposes. Either way, we'll get the job done. So we got a twins rear roof spoiler here. I think that really ties in well with the T-tops, and especially with the tint on this window, that looks great. Moving along to the rear, diffuser in the rear from Twins Design. I think that matches well with the Z1 Touring exhaust with the black oval tips. I think that ties in all the black accents together on this car real nicely. This car has came together very beautifully, but before it hits the dyno, we have one problem that we need to take care of, because we cannot go any further until this is corrected: the fitment. This thing is a monster truck as of now. It's on stock suspension currently, so we're gonna do some justice, throw some KW coilovers on, along with a full Z1 arm kit. That includes the front uppers, rear uppers. We already did the adjustable tension rods. So yeah, we're gonna get those thrown on, get an alignment done, slap her on the dyno. Step one, disconnect your battery. Put your car on jack stand safely.
Make sure your car's in park.
Yeah. So once you have the wheel off, what you want to do is remove this bottom cover and the nut behind it, along with the brake line bracket. And from there, you should be able to take off the two nuts up top and remove the strut assembly. Pocket screwdriver. Amazing. Ready to grab our new coilover and get that installed. We've partnered with KW on this build. They were great enough to provide us with this beautiful Club Sport coilover that they offer. You can go check these out on z1motorsports.com. You know, grab you a set. We're going definitely for a little bit of a lower, more aggressive stance than the car, you know, had before, but keeping it very functional for the road. This definitely should be able to get the job done. So the new upper control arm is adjusted close to factory spec. You want to ensure that this is oriented where this curvature on the inboard side, you can tell that it's inboard side by the bushing having the markings or cutouts. You want to ensure the inboard side curvature is up, while as the outboard side curves down. And you want to place that in your factory bracket. And these two bolts are different, so you want to make sure you put the inboard side with the inboard and outside with the outboard side. So you want to take your new front upper control arm alongside with your OEM factory upper control arm. And what you want to do is you want to take your adjustable control arm, and match the length of your factory control arm, so that gives you a good starting point for when you go do an alignment. There's one and two ways you can do this. I think if you want to take a measurement of your factory one, and you know, with a micrometer or a ruler or whatever you have. I think the measurement is 180 millimeters, and you can just match that, or what you could do is also just take one of your bolts, slide that guy in there, adjust it out to length. So you can slide the second bolt through and go a little bit more. And now that you can get both bolts in, that's pretty close to factory, you know, factory spec. You should end up with something like this, and we are ready to install this back on the car. Solid. Front is all finished, so we have to adjust ride height. Now with the front suspension finished up, we're moving along to the rear.
This is where the fun begins,
because we have to pull nearly the whole interior out. So to reach the top hats of the rear strut assembly, basically we have to get under here. But to do that, everything else around it has to come out, starting with the rear carpet, this panel, the side panels, this little deck piece, these little cap covers, and then we should be able to remove this side of the interior and reach those very two small nuts. Small nuts.
I bet you're looking forward to this.
Absolutely. We have the rear interior completely out, so we were able to get to the top two nuts of the strut assembly. We have already removed those, therefore all we do is need to remove this bottom bolt, and we should be able to work the strut out. At the same time we have the strut out, we're going to go ahead and tackle the rear upper control arm as well. To remove the rear upper control arm, it's just two nuts and bolts, one set here, another set here, and then that should pop right out and we'll be able to install our brand new Z1 forged upper control arm. So here we have the Z1 forged rear upper control arm. This is our street version. For you track guys, this is the race and bushing. Basically with this control arm, you get more, the main benefit, I should say, is a lot more range of camber adjustability, especially when you lower these cars, you tend to not be able to get back into spec. This allows you to do so, plus a lot more if you want to be all stancy pants, you can definitely add a lot more camber to it. Plus, As you can see with our factory control arm, it is a full circle, where this is like a half circle. This gives you more space, so definitely easier to adjust coilovers or remove factory struts or install them. You don't really have to fight trying to make it through this hole. So those are the main benefits of, you know, using this arm. So before installing these arms on your car, if you have the street version, you do want to ensure that you are full of grease by, you know, pumping some into this Zerk fitting. You also want to make sure you have the arm orientated in this direction, where the Zerk fitting is downwards and these locking bolts are downwards. That gives you accessibility, you know, from up underneath the car. If you so do have to put some more grease in at a later date, and to be able to access these on like the alignment rack, you always want these pointed down. And to start, sort of like we did with the front upper control arms, you do want to adjust these close to factory lengths to you know, have a good starting point at the once you go to do the alignment. So basically, to adjust these, essentially, if you hold this as if it was tightened down on the car and you were to turn this in or out, this is pretty much how this works on the car. So like I stated, just adjust the factory length to start, and that should give you a good starting point. Side of the rear upper control arm, you want to use your factory eccentric bolt, and on the outboard side we do provide a new nut and bolt that you want to use here. Both nuts and bolts, you want to get the car, load up the suspension, get it close to ride height, and then tighten the bushings, whether that be using a floor jack, or if you have access to the alignment machine, once the car is sitting on the alignment machine, fully tighten the bolts. That relieves stress on the bushings. Are beautiful. Oh, look at all this room this Z1 rear upper control arm provides. I don't have to fight with it to get it in and out. We'll use the jack to load up the suspension to get that in there. Something tells me this car is going to be low.
What you think this thing's gonna hit on the dyno? What's your guess? No idea. What's your guess today?
Can't guess. So today we're setting ride height on the Z32. We got one more set of suspension arms in the rear, which is the traction arm to get installed. After that, we got some JDM tail lights that we need to do, refresh up the rear end of the car, and then after that, it should be preparation to get it on a dyno. But I'll get this as best as I can, I will say. I still think the front needs to come up, so. Rear, I don't know, rear looks pretty decent. That is on the money. That's pretty nice there. Think somebody can handle this rod height? It's not the lowest, but it is low. Let's get a second opinion. Sean, what you think about this rod height? Yes, I went up with it.
Where'd you go up with?
To be safe.
Sean said go down.
I think this is a giveawayable rod height. He likes it. He likes it. With rod height being set, we could attack these rear traction arms. And that should be it for suspension. All right, here we are. These are rear traction arms, street, for S13 or Z32. Sirski. All right, now we'll be working on getting these Z1 rear traction arms for the Z32 installed. It's pretty simple install overall. There is one bolt that is a little bit of a pain on the driver's side. There's one or two ways you can either do it. You can either lower the subframe or you can cut the bolt. The issue is this bolt here, the way it is oriented from the factory, comes out this way, but as you can see, the filler neck for the gas tank runs right behind it, so the bolt would hit that before fully making its way out of the subframe. As you can see, we went ahead and just cut this bolt, but you do have the option to lower the subframe. Either way is not very hard to do, but it is a little bit more of a pain than the passenger side, which is free and clear, so you don't have that issue. So if you have a Z1 or any other aftermarket rear upper control arm, or plan to do so at the same time, it's a good idea to go ahead and do the traction arm first, because you may run into an issue like we have here where you also can't get this bolt out with the aftermarket arm. So if you're doing them both at the same time, it's a good idea to take care of this traction arm first. If you already have a rear upper control arm installed, you may end up having to remove this side of it as well. So before installing the new traction arm, it's a good idea to go ahead and take it and once again either measure your point to point, or you could, you know, for ease of alignment, you can find two bolts that can reach through all the bolt holes, and, you know, adjust the control arm to factory length for a good starting point once again on your alignment. It's a good idea with the new traction arm to put the bolt in the opposite way on the inboard side. That way if you ever have to remove it again, you don't have to cut it or lower the subframe. Fun. I think it's time to move on to tail lights. feel like they're perfect for the Z32. They look a lot better.
Doug, how hyped are you?
Very. Oh, so hyped. Let's talk about what we got going on here. So we got the ride height set. Fitment is dialed in, so no more of that monster truck look that we had before. Suspension it has to work. It has all Z1 control arms. That includes front upper control arms, adjustable tension rise, rear upper control arms, traction arms, and it's got everything. KW coilovers. So suspension is all set. We got one more thing left before the dyno, and that's an alignment. So let's get it over to the alignment rack and get that taken care of.
You did it.
Yes, sir. Now that we got the alignment finished up, it's time to get this.
Now that y'all have had your fun, it's time to put this car on the dyno. Let me get that from you, bro. Hold up. You gotta go put it on the dyno though.